In addition to their roles rebuilding Basra's airport and training up Iraqi forces and watching over the U.S. supply route in southern Iraq, British forces have to supply themselves. So there are a couple hundred logistics troops at Basra Air Station whose job it is to drive and escort the truck convoys, they call them lifts, from Kuwait on a daily basis. It's basically a mile-long string of heavy trucks with a few lighter armed vehicles as escorts to protect them from militia and insurgents.
I'm Major Peter Sollitt. I command the Close Support Squadron, which is part of the United Kingdom Logistic Battalion out here in Iraq. And our role within Iraq is to provide the military transport lift in support of all the UK force elements within the multinational division Southeast area operations.
So do you see, do you have like a sort of steady operational tempo, or are there spikes in demand for your services?
A combination of both, actually. There are certain areas within our area that require us to routinely supply them, so we will always go to them and carry the supplies whenever they require it. But also there will be the occasional operation which will require direct support from us, and they come as and when, and then we will provide the necessary lift to support that operation.
So what's the biggest challenge in your job?
I suppose the biggest challenge is getting the vehicles ready to move at the notice to move required. As you'd expect, the tempo of operations in this type of environment means that we have to react fairly rapidly, and so we have to be prepared to be able to support them at the drop of a hat, I suppose.
So it's all about maintaining the vehicles and keeping them in top shape?
Yes.
Is that a difficult thing to do in this kind of environment?
It can be. These vehicles are not necessarily designed for this part of the world, but we have been able to modify and adapt them so that they're able to perform adequately depending on what we're doing.
So does that keep your troops busy?
Yes, it does, which is very important for them. They need to be able to show that they can do the job in and out of this environment. They're able to support either directly by being out on the ground or indirectly by supporting those guys by preparing the vehicles.
Keep going, no! There's a more lolly!
Hi, my name is Captain Nick Kriknivsky, and I'm the RSO for the UK Log Battalion here in Basra. And we're here to provide logistics support to 4th Mechanised Brigade on operations. Okay, this is our Mastiff truck, and we use this for the force protection that provides the support to the convoys coming up to provide us with the supplies from Kuwait.
So it's basically just a massively armoured truck for convoy escort?
That's right, yeah. Patrol vehicle.
So you have daily patrols coming in, and your guys go out, daily convoys coming in, and your guys go out to just make sure they get through safely?
Yep, that's right. They escort the convoys up from Kuwait with all of our food and rations and water and fuel.
Why do they need such a heavily armed vehicle?
This is so that they can counteract the IED threat that are on the routes at the moment.
I understand the role of logistics troops has changed somewhat.
Yeah, that's right. The threat has increased somewhat because the logistics soldiers now come into more combat contact with the enemy. Conversely, we're now trained and equipped to react to that threat accordingly. So a wider range of weapon systems, including the GPMG, the LMG and the 50 cal machine gun, and of course the use of Mastiff truck and similar vehicles that will provide more effective protection for us.
It's basically, the problem is that in an insurgency kind of environment you don't have clear front lines, so anyone can be exposed to enemy fire.
Yeah, that's correct, and we frequently find this when our logistic patrols go out on the ground and come across shooting incidents, IEDs, IDF attacks, and that kind of contact.
So I'm here in Basra, Iraq with 12 LSR. We're part of 43 Squadron. My job out here in Iraq is to drive close support tankers. It's basically just a truck with a fuel tank on the back. My aim out here at the moment is to resupply the battle group. That way the battle can keep moving.
What's the hardest part about your job?
The hardest part about my job is obviously the truck's 17 foot long, so when it comes to tricky situations, manoeuvring's quite a problem, so you have to be switched on, always know the lengths of your truck and make sure we can get to places other people can't.
So you spent a lot of time on the road.
We're on the road basically every other day. Wherever needs fuel, we need to go out there to go onto the roads.
Is it boring sitting in the cab of a truck on these long supply hauls?
It's not boring, obviously, in a fuel tanker because articulated, so you always got to make sure the truck's in a straight line and it's not swerving off, so yeah, it's good.
Well, I guess you've got the reminder that you're hauling thousands of gallons of flammable material.
Yeah, you've got that in the back of your mind. Carrying 20,000 litres for Iraq's not the best of things, but someone has to do it.
Today we're going out to visit a village just close to the base, and where we've conducted 2 CIMIC projects funded by US CERT program, where we put in mains water supplies to areas which previously didn't have any access to mains water.
And what does CIMIC mean?
Civil military cooperation.
So it's essentially a reconstruction project.
Yes, it's improving the infrastructure and the sort of the last mile quality of life for the villages there.
So what has been one of the benefits of the new water infrastructure?
Well, the water is much better quality than previously available, and the people here have fairly large herds of buffalo, and the milk yield from their buffalo has increased by 3 litres per buffalo per day. So they're now able to sell that surplus milk for a profit at the market.
One morning I went on patrol with a Royal Air Force security team that oversees some minor reconstruction projects in the perimeter of the base. This reconstruction in southern Iraq has mostly ended, with the exception of some ongoing projects at the airport and also the small project on the base perimeter. The idea being you want to maintain good relationship with folks living around your base so that they don't harbor any insurgents or militia members who might try to shoot down some airplanes. So the Royal Air Force troops will periodically go out to the outlying villages there in the marsh areas surrounding the base and check up on road projects, bridge projects, and projects to provide water to these formerly impoverished villages. The problem is that British equipment in southern Iraq has gotten heavier and heavier and heavier in order to protect troops from rockets and mortars and snipers. So the trucks that the British currently use to patrol around Basra Air Station and to visit these marsh Arab villages weigh 30 tons, which is about 6 times as much as their original Land Rovers weighed. These 30-ton masted vehicles are often too heavy for the bridges in the area. So whenever the British forces cross a bridge, they get out on foot and check out the bridge as they slowly edge the vehicles across, just to make sure that they don't cause too much damage. It's also standard practice just to consider bridges sort of a choke point, so that you have to get out and make sure that they're secure, that they're not the site of a potential ambush before you wheel some relatively vulnerable vehicle across.